intelligence in health education and biomedical research, bridging innovation and clinical application. It's our honor to introduce Professor Mohammed Hadi Habaibi from Malaysia. Professor Mohammed Hadi Habaibi is a professor in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering at the International Islamic University, Malaysia. He is internationally recognized for his work in wireless communication networks, Internet of Things security, biomedical engineering, and artificial intelligence applications in healthcare technologies. Professor Habaibi has published more than 400 academic papers and has supervised numerous postgraduate researchers in interdisciplinary AI and health technology studies. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Professor Mohammed Hadi Habaibi to deliver his keynote lecture.
Okay, so, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammed Hadi. I come from Kuala Lumpur, northern part of Kuala Lumpur. Our university is called International Islamic University. Malaysia is very popular in Malaysia. We have students from 115 countries, quite diversified. We have a large, campus, a very beautiful campus in the tropics. We have approximately 14 faculties. One of the biggest faculties is in theology and human social sciences and engineering as well. We have, in our engineering department faculty, we have approximately 5 departments. These departments collaborate on interdisciplinary research. So our PhD is called PhD in engineering rather than PhD in a specific engineering. We have a lot of work on biomedical research. We have a lot of products also as well for COVID, for tropical diseases like dengue fever. We have a very big VLSI group and electronics group that teaches biomedical engineering, focuses in these areas. Today I will brief you on what we have been doing for the last 10 years in my lab with approximately a very large number of students. In Asia, the research is not like in Europe. The research in Asia uses a lot of students. A lot of students, when you come to a lab, you find professors with 20 PhD students and 20 postdocs. So this is very normal in Malaysia. In fact, some research universities in Malaysia have even 50 PhD students working in the lab under the supervision of one person. So it's a very challenging work. So I'm going to go through first on our work in thermography 10 years back, started in AI for early breast cancer detection. And our sisters might find this work interesting. And then our work with the University of Surrey in the UK and free universities on the multimodal imaging for dental and root canal anatomy, classification, detection, segmentation, and gum disease. And then I will give some experience on personal experience we have learned with working with our students and our postdocs on including AI into the curriculum, which I find very interesting from the lecture from Prof. Mohammed Kamal from Mandipur, because we have gone through similar challenges, so I will brief you on what we have done. Breast cancer actually, a nifty idea came out by the Egyptians 3,000 years ago. They use a very thin layer of clay, wet clay, and they place it on the breast. And they find out which region dries fast. The region that dries fast that's the exact location of the cancer. It was later became like bile. The process, the mortality rate, obviously we have no way to measure it back then, but obviously it is very high. I don't think any woman has survived it back then, but it's not a new disease. It is not a temporary disease. It has been as long as probably humanity existed. It's a very serious disease. 2022, we had 2.3 new many cases. We have 2.3 million new cases, 670,000 mortalities. So it's not a joke. It's a leading cause of death in women. 80% of them occurring after the age of 50. So survival rate always high if you detect it early. So without early detection, it's very hard to survive it. The gold standard for breast cancer detection basically is mammograms. It has been there since the 60s. It has three major issues. It is not good, it doesn't work well with age as we age. It doesn't work well with density, with the tissue density and family history. So early detection, 25% of cases, if it's detected early, they can survive. The dosage of mammograms does not work or actually affects ladies who is above 70 years old, and it might even cause a vein rupture. It is not good at early detection in young women because of the density of the tissue itself. So then came the CT imaging, which we expose the patient to a high dosage of X-ray. This dosage through the years has been reduced to about 70%, but still there's radiation, and this radiation affects pregnant women. Patients find it very challenging because they have to hold their breath for some time. The other forms is MRI, which is used for follow-up after chemotherapy. So it doesn't detect early detection, so the challenge of early detection is still there. And a lot of people find it very difficult to do MRI because some people are claustrophobic, so they don't feel comfortable sitting in a place during the imaging, confined place, closed place. And also it's not cheap, so it's not something that you can carry everywhere. So you have to go to a centralized hospital, you have to queue based on your health system. If it's in Turkey, so you have to wait for appointment, and there is a progression of disease during that time, so you're always at risk. Then came ultrasound. Ultrasound basically is the safest form of detecting breast cancer, but also has issues. It doesn't detect breast cancer it can detect breast cancer in dense tissue, which obviously develops with age, but it has no impact on health and is very quick and comfortable for the patient. But it cannot detect cancer early. So histology imaging, biopsy, it's very painful process. Itself, biopsy might even cause cancer. You have to look at the procedure itself. So there's a lot of other risks that is involved in the process. And then quite often there is a disagreement between pathologists on the decision, whether there is or there is not, especially for early cases. So it's not very favorable for it. So I entered the thermography. Thermography 10 years back became very popular. A lot of research was, everybody jumped wagon looking at the process of detecting breast cancer using thermography. But thermography alone is not enough, so we had to resort to AI. It's a process work done by cornerstone project students, FYP students, master students, and PhD students. So there is a lot of pain. There's a lot of work which results from so many students. So if you find the material too technical, we can do it very quick, but we can also try to concentrate on things that might interest everybody. Automation is very important because it raises the sensitivity to almost 100%. So we have to use automation. AI is basically automation. It automates any procedure. Any procedure that you do, it can automate it. So we developed several objectives. The first objective was we wanted to test, can we develop a low-cost solution for rural areas? Can we use a standard FLIR camera, infrared camera, like a GoPro, with a FLIR Pro, so with AI to detect breast cancer? That time, CNN Family was very famous, and the Inception Family was just starting, so we were studying Inception Family version 3, version 4, and we even have modification of version 4. We wanted to implement it on small devices, so we had to look at the performance of the model in speed, in terms of speed, at the same time memory requirements, and at the same time we didn't want to lose the features, so we had to do modifications on Inception, something called Inception layer, which is one of the layers that is used in the model about 7 times, so it uses a lot of computation. We tried to simplify it, and we tested our model with several optimization methods. And the interesting things we found out that one of the models stood up very well. The modified Inception v4 was almost comparable in terms of complexity and floating points required, number of calculations required as Inception 3. We looked at the time saved. We looked at the division ratios for the training, validation, and testing, and so on and so forth. And based on this model that we have developed, we took it further to look at the segmentation. So there was an area in AI that is family in AI that specializes in segmentation, in deep learning that specializes in segmentation. It's all based on something called UNet. A UNet model is a simple model, but it's very good, very efficient in segmentation. There are also sophisticated versions of this family, like UNet with spatial attention, UNet++. These are like tuple version with steroids, so they're very powerful as well. But sometimes using a powerful model does not yield the good results. That is the experience we've learned. And it took a lot of time for us to learn because acquiring data is the most challenging thing in this field, in medicine and health education and biomedical engineering. It is not easy to convince a female patient to allow a female doctor and a female clinician to acquire thermal images in the convenience of a private clinic. So our solution was to go towards privacy. We have to think of privacy. So we started with segmentation. We tested the models, we found out the best models, we have modified it. We looked at its ability for segmentation, resilience, robustness against noise, and we came up with the final verdict. This verdict, you can clearly see UNet simplicity with the SGM model can perform very well on the left. So we took this further and we wanted to study what is the, what you might call it, the thermal physical properties of the skin, of the breast tissue itself. So we were looking at this issue in two ways. One, to develop a simulation model, and one, to develop a test bed to look at these thermal physical properties. We used COMSOL 5.3 for the model, and we wanted to look at the tumor depth, the tumor size, the blood perfusion, the conductivity, the ambient temperature, and then how do they affect the skin surface of the breast, temperature of the breast. Because tomography is basically a reflection of an image from the skin, and it gives you pixels that you translate it to numbers, and then suddenly you have colors that tells you this region is very hot, this region is cooler, this region is the coolest, and so on and so forth. So we validated it through an emulation experiment. In this experiment, we used this model that you see here at the bottom to simulate the breast bone, and then we used this experiment, a mannequin. This mannequin allows us to, what may I call it, we have used LED, this is the camera pro. We have used LED as a power supply to simulate the, what may I call it, the intensity of heat produced on the skin, and we try to detect it. Three interesting things we found out: that large breasts have a greater surface, they have a greater surface, and therefore temperature quickly dissipates. So it's not easy to detect breast cancer in large breasts, number one. Number two, what we're looking at basically is contrast in temperature, the difference in temperature. How does the temperature drops? The rapid drop is what gives us the borders and the shape, so we can estimate the size and we can estimate the depth as well. Okay? So we tested with several samples that we have developed in the lab. The model was not capable of detecting anything below than 0.5 cm, 5 millimeter. And anything that is deeper than 10 cm, it's impossible for the model to detect it. So we have to resort to something interesting, which is called C2 cooling. C2 cooling basically is that we apply a gel to the skin to cool the skin surface temperature. And there is a procedure for the patient to take, to relax. There's also acquisition procedure, no alcohol, no resting time, the room temperature, very complex. And there's, a camera moves like this in an arc. The patient sits comfortably, breathes comfortably. When he's come, then the image is acquired. All done by female clinicians, all done by female PhD students. So there's a lot of female hands here. The model, even on the AI. So once the properties are decided, we use the data developed to improve the model, and then we wanted to acquire more data. Imagine we spent 300,000 ringgit, that is like $90,000, which is not cheap, to acquire data. For many hospitals, we contacted many hospitals. The only hospital that agreed to work with us for a period of 5 months, 5.5 months, is in Shiraz, Iran. This is the only clinic that decided to work with us. We have tried in Malaysia with 3 major hospitals. Getting the ethical approval is not something easy in medicine. Getting the approval from convincing the medical team to work with you also, who are trained to do mammograms and CT scans and ultrasound and histology imaging, is something you would say, no, this is useless, I don't believe it. So it took us time to convince them, so we have to raise awareness, and this training took a lot of resources. So we had to give training to doctors to convince them what we're doing is right. So so some doctors started working with us, bringing old images they took before from patients. So you have to scan them. We found a lot of noise. So we wanted to look at the noise. How does the noise affect the performance of our model? All these images. We studied several types of noise, like Gaussian, Poissons, speckle, salt and pepper, and we looked at the performance of the model. Noise is a very serious issue. So storage of this data and medical records is very important and has to be taken by care. It's some of the lessons that we learned the hard way. So we had to resort to denoising algorithms besides the AI to help us detect. In fact, without denoising, many times the AI classifies the case as healthy and it's actually cancerous. The tumor is actually cancerous. So we have to use a denoising with the algorithm to bring the superiority and robustness back. And then we wanted to test it. We applied to the Islamic Development Bank. We did the demonstration for them. We applied for a grant from Islamic Development Bank to develop something called a mobile clinic. This mobile clinic, because this is like a low-tech AI for a low-tech, we can take it to rural areas for high school students and households. So the clinic is run by female clinicians and engineers and medical doctors. They can go to school, knock door by door, and try to do, because it's capable of detecting it early. If you detect it early, you can easily survive. The rate is almost 100%. But you have to detect it early. The challenge is how to detect it early. So we had a proposal for this clinic. We did the demonstrations and all this. ISDB decided to switch to a different kind of cancer. And the money was given to a different grant. So we have to use a local grant to develop an app for it, and we did an experimentation with the hospital in Kuantan, which is the second city, 200 kilometers from Rabu, where the another campus belongs to us, and we have a hospital of 500 beds. So we got few hundred cases we studied, but the university decided to keep this data proprietary. You cannot make it public data, and because you can even sell it, you can make money out of it. And it is off limits for AI, off limits for online. Only limited students can use it, and the lab, the students can only use data when they have to travel all the way to Kuantan in a contained environment in the hospital, where they have to experiment with this data. So we did an app, and we had something like this. We trained the people on the procedure, and it was working fine. So we patented it. We tested it on several models on the app. The only thing is it's sensitive a little bit to tilting, and this is understood. But transmission coefficiency, all are okay. So we developed an app called Afia. I think in Turkish it's called Afia, A-F-I-Y-A-H, which means being wholesome, being healthy, and being fit. Something to that line. So this work is patented. The app is still being tested for commercialization with the hospital. Then we had another team, working with another university, another hospital, on the understanding the anatomy, the use of AI into the anatomy of dental root canal, the root canal anatomy in the teeth. So this is work done by my group, Dr. Abdelkader from Ankara University, another postdoc from Oman, from Arab University, my former PhD, former postdoc, also from a team from Oman Hospital and Faculty of Dentistry. So it's a big team, and a famous professor in dentistry, retired honorary professor at University of Surrey. So we looked at issues like, investigated many issues like detection, tracking, identification, segmentation, classification. some of the issues we looked at, basically segmentation, how segmentation enhances the image against noise, how you can actually classify, for example, in the top image, third image in the center, coronal filling. You can classify and localize the coronal filling. You can actually detect the objects. You can actually combine. You can use semantic segmentation to give a pixel. There is assigned to for different categories. You can combine semantic with instance segmentation to color the regions of interest, the animal, the dentin, the coronal filling, and so on and so forth. And then you can combine in parametric segmentation. So each segmentation, each methodology adds value to the work to understand the anatomy and how is it. Also, one very, very famous issue, basically something called mesobuccal canal. Sometimes the teeth on the first molar, it has two canals. 69.6% of this teeth does have a second canal, but it's hidden. So when you do root canal treatment, you inject the needles, you put the chemicals to kill the bacteria. If the other branch is not treated, very quickly the teeth deteriorates and you have to remove it. Deteriorates and you have to remove it. So to save this, we need to detect this very hidden, often missed, this mesobuccal 2. We call it mesobuccal 2 canal. So we have used YOLO 5. We have used YOLO 5 for detection of this, and we have also used another model besides YOLO 5 for the mesobuccal detection and the tracking of using CBCT, 3D CBCT, a camera that put into the mouth, and it generates a video, and we slice it into 2D, and then we do tracking for the, we enhance the image first, we process, and then we track the mesobuccal 2 canal. So this will help the clinicians or the dentist during the procedure to find the second canal and treat it as well. Also, Dr. Abdelkader worked on combining different modalities like micro-CT and CBCT to find, detect we call them accessory canals, the fine regions of interest. We also did a classification model by another student, another doctor, on the classification of the systems. You can see at the top, I think there is a laser here, right? So we can classify the canal itself is the structure is quite random, it's not uniform. So it has a lot of associated canals. Sometimes it splits, you think you only have one canal, but you might have two branching, you might have three, you might combine into two, they might combine into one, split again into two, split again into one. So it has a very complex structure. The two teeth have very complex structure from inside. So we come up with a classification standard for the system. My doctors from UN, it was automated, the classification was automated, and then we come up with another, we are working now on a bulk chamber classification as one model, similar to what we have done here. We have also worked on the statistical profiling of the root and of the canal itself. So we wanted to look at the demographic information, age-wise and all this, the progression over time, and how does the anatomy changes. So we had to do statistical, we have to do profiling like areas, parameters, major, minor diameters, aspect ratio, roundness, elasticity, form factor, and tortuosity as well, 3D tortuosity as well. So this is work in progress because we are collecting large samples, thousands and thousands of teeth. So we have a big hospital, we have a big clinic also as well, probably 100 chairs, and we have a lot of students who are being trained as dentists almost on a daily basis, and we have a lot of procedures to remove teeth. So we have in vivo, and we have on the jaw, teeth, imaging, and so on and so forth. Also, the interesting thing we found out with the AI, the segmentation of the bulb cavity system, if you do it manually in the clinic or the hospital, the doctor requires, or the clinician requires 39 minutes. We can do it in 4.3 seconds. So that's very fast, very, very fast. Also, you can detect hidden anatomy, which before you don't know about. So there is a potential to find new interesting things. Also, we can refine the CBCT images. which is used in clinics. Besides micro-CT, which is basically a research form of imaging, we can detect small root we can allow detection of small root canals. That's normally obscured by the voxel size of the CBCT. Also, we find it very interesting when we do training. Our lecturers in UM is introduced a course on this, on the classification, so it has the dentists, third year and fourth year students use it in real time. So for automated radiograph analysis, and they do case analysis in front of the doctors, and they evaluate how do they do the diagnosis, how they analyze the case, what recommendation they give, what procedure should be followed, and so on and so forth. So they can test their cognitive skills, abilities to do this manually and with the automation as well. So it was very interesting. We have learned a lot of things also from this. We also did a collaboration with a university on a similar project called Zeka University. They have their own private hospital. This is a private university, and with the postdoc from Oman. So here we have, as we age, the line of the gum falls down, so the teeth gets exposed, and then we have an erosion of the periodontal bone loss. So we graded this at many patients. We collected 2,100 augmented OPGs. We have to standardize them. Standardization on the machine, on the acquisition, and then on the processing, and then we followed a standard in dentistry developed in the US for the grading of this periodontal bone loss, and we have to find the landmarks on the left, the landmark points on all these OPGs, and then we have to run our different models on this to what we call it, calculate and grade. So two things were learned. This is done manually. After we did it with AI, we found out probably 60% of the manual procedure is wrong and doesn't give right results for the grading. Because actually it is so sensitive to approximately 0.1 micrometer, which is impossible to do with the naked eye. So the grading standard we are proposing with UM to adjust the grading standard on this. We have also found out that which model that can give us the best results, highest accuracy, and which one gives us the lowest false positive rates, and so on and so forth. So this is basically apps that is tested with the dentists in this school, and we keep collecting data from these experiments. We have a lot of work. We have a lot of students. We have a lot of AI applications, really a lot of AI applications. But in my lab, 2 more experiments. We have 4 projects on biomedical. So I'll tell you what I learned, because the first thing I learned is that, number one, in the last 10 years, my productivity 10 years back is nothing compared to my productivity now. This is very clear. So with the use of AI, especially if you are a little bit smarter, you get a very strong push, a bosom from below. It pushes you miles ahead of your colleagues. So AI is a very powerful tool if you know how to use it. Okay? So the first thing is basically productivity. Everybody's productivity became very noticeable. Second, basically, is we found out that it cannot be used for diagnosis on its own. It's too risky to use it on its own. You still need human intervention, and you still need confirmation by normal cognitive skills provided by doctors. So the doctor really has to be there. So the idea is that AI will replace a doctor. I find it practically nonsense, at least for now, 2026. Maybe in 10 years' time, maybe in 5 years' time, I don't know. But for now, no, doesn't work. Number one. Number two, we found out that students come from different, in Malaysia, they come from different schools. Some come from private schools, come from government schools, and also the level of grasp of the fundamentals is different. The effort put in the school is different. Some students are very hardworking. You had to push them away and ask them to go back. Some of those students sleep in the lab. They find it so interesting and very challenging, they sleep over in the lab. One day I found my PhD students with his wife, she's cutting his hair 2 o'clock in the morning in the lab. So that is how they become very associated, very close to their work. So the learning rate is different between students, and every student takes a longer, different time. Some students learn very fast with AI. Some students, they achieve the same level, but that takes them longer time. So this is the interesting thing. And everybody excited to use it. Everybody excited to use these tools to learn. So we don't have, I wouldn't say stupid students, but we don't have lazy students anymore. This is very interesting observation. Any student can be smart. Any student can contribute. Any student can be an excellent producer of a high quality research and clinical work. So also in case evaluation, where it has AI now helps us, at least in my lab, in breast cancer, in many fields, in biomedical engineering. So a lot of things happen very fast and saves time, it saves the automation. Only one thing in health, you still have to go some procedure because you're not working with software only. So the issue is not only software. So the lab time has been reduced to almost zero, see, from 39 minutes to 4.3 seconds. But there is a manual procedure, and there is another procedure which requires hand for surgery and all this. So this will take time for AI to master and take time for us to trust machines to do this. At the rate of the way we see it now, it's purely unethical, so it's not possible now, okay? So the drama of the 2027, things were 2029, I don't believe it at all. This is at least based on experience. I have developed working with doctors and the same thing. On the issue of medical professor, the issue of interdiscipline, there is another challenge, you know. I either have to become a pathologist or I have to change the pathologist to an eye specialist. I either have to become a dentist or I have to change the dentist to an eye specialist, you see? So this issue is very challenging for us right now. So I think developing an interdiscipline courses is good, but the way taking it is, I think, a bit extreme. In Malaysia, we had this case 15 years back, 20 years back. The government refused to give us license to teach standard engineering courses, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. No, you have to find a niche. So we have to go to mechatronics, we have to go to computer information engineering, we have to go to informatics, we have to go to, and this, it's like if we look at the students intake and the market for it, it's like a sine wave. It comes and goes. So sometimes it picks up, sometimes goes down. And we even have some professions completely closed, programs completely sealed, and we have new programs coming up. So education is very adaptive. Your system has to be very adaptive to this. You have to introduce more courses that touches you. You have to embed AI in almost all courses, from course 101 all the way to 6th level. AI also will notice that we need to prioritize data privacy. Lazy anonymization of data is very risky, because we have some of our students are working on mimicking, learning what does the AI do by asking so many questions, thousands and thousands of questions. You learn how does the AI behaves. So you can develop a similar AI that does almost 90% of the functionality. And then we have other students mitigating how this guy is affecting to protect the original copyright of the original one. It is very complex. The change or the race or the pace at which AI changing cybersecurity is massive and beyond comprehension, really. AI is basically 90% is data. If you have data, you have a powerful AI. You don't have data, you have nothing. It's just a code. And with vibe coding now, most of the students generate the code without even understanding what does it do. Code is large, easily with Cloud AI, you can generate it. And you can run it and test it on your data. Access to data is very important. I think programming will fade out, yes, because of the vibe coding. Vibe coding is that you give instructions to generate an app that does the exact functionality that you need to develop line by line 20 years back or 15 years back. Okay, so based on prompting, proper prompting, specialized prompting, you can generate an app like this very quickly, but you still need data, especially in biomedical engineering, education, and health education. It's all about the data. You give me garbage data, you get a garbage output. you get lousy decisions. And in medicine, this is no joke because it's a human life at stake. You cannot make a wrong decision. You make a wrong decision for a doctor might take him to court, but for AI, who's responsible, the doctor or the AI? The company who manufactured the AI? There is no ownership. There's no ethics until now. There's no agency. Nobody wants to take the agency. So these are things still not resolved. So we have to wait for, it's like a fight now. You wait for the dust to settle down. Once the dust settles down, you see exactly your direction. Our approach is in phases. We started introducing AI in almost all cases, not just specialized, dedicated AI courses for machine learning and deep learning. No, even it's used in all courses from year 1 to year 4 for the bachelor degree and through the postgraduate courses. AI also brings a lot of concerns for us, at least through our experience. The skill failing, many doctors, when they get used to this, the automation, then they have an issue with how it was done. They have to go back to manual, they have to go back to manual procedures to train themselves. Issues with hallucinations, which how we do it, a lot of our students practically cheat on lab reports, assignments, projects. So what we do, we bring the case for them. We generate the report with ChatGPT or with Google AI, and then we give them the assignment, tell them criticize it. You do the criticizing, find out the truth, okay? Verify the facts, okay? Show me where is the hallucination. Verify the references. And after you find the reference, tell me which part of the reference this quotation came from. And draw your own conclusions. So it takes them a lot of effort. So we reverse the game. Also, we force them to do, okay, you want to submit an assignment, and this assignment basically is done by AI, I have no issue. You're convinced this is your assignment, you have to stand up, you explain to me what's in this report. So it becomes visual one-on-one assessment. Also, we are maintaining zero AI, zero electronics zones, where assessment is only done hands-on with the students and verbal assessment. We also have issues with ghosting. A lot of students, especially postgraduate, they become very excited. You know, businessman, when you talk about money for businessman, he gets very excited, right? Postgraduate students get excited with publishing papers. They get the same thrill. It's like getting married. It's something very exciting for them. So once they get the first one, they're not satisfied. Now they need another one. And then they brag, I managed to get 3 out of my thesis. I got 4. So there is a lot of competition among students, especially if they like what they do. So this issue brought us to speed, and speed brought us a lot of problems. One of them is assistance with AI. So it's costing a lot of writing, very shallow. When you read the reports, there is no depth, there is no actually analysis. You feel like he doesn't really understand. Let me give you an example. You ask him to write a code to process a signal processing in biomedical engineering. He will generate the code in AI, show you the signal being put in the output, but he doesn't know the math. He doesn't know the transformations. He doesn't know why the model is behaving like that. He doesn't know which parameters you attack. So this is the issues that we face through teaching these courses. So in writing, in understanding, we have to redefine our assessment. We have to use also disclosure policies. We have to change on the exam paper, the evaluation. He has to declare the AI tools he has used, for which part, for how much. He has to explain the prompts he has used, how much they affected his output. So all these are introduced now in our university. Also, a lot of AI is secret in the black box. You don't know the model actually, how did it come up to this decision, especially in health education. So with the introduction of explainable AI, the excellent level increases. You look at each feature you studied, what is its effect on the decision? By how much? So you tell me which feature exactly does affect the decision. So you look at the local interpretability, global interpretability, the intercorrelation, and so on and so forth. So this is basically a lot of research is done into this with our students. Almost now, all work is done with explainable AI. Without explainable AI, the work is rejected. Also, data breaches, privacy, standards. Students, what they do, when you work with ChatGPT, it will bring you data from websites, from archived papers, from white papers, from commercial materials, and at the same time from peer-reviewed research. So it's not clean, it is not purely scientific. There's a lot of nonsense there. So, and also, as students want to evaluate, they upload their projects or work to ChatGPT. It becomes public, and the model uses it to train itself. So it will introduce further bias into the model. So to prevent this, we have an offline environment where students is forced to work on an offline model on his own laptop. He has to do it in the lab in front of you, and then you have to, discuss his data. How is he protecting the data, the anonymization procedure, is there any clinical guidelines he's following, so to avoid intellectual property violations. We also, we teach them not to blindly accept, like Prof. Mazin mentioned, bias is a very serious issue. So blind accepting of the authoritative tone of ChatGPT. You feel like, oh, this guy is a guru, is a master. So he knows his stuff. When in reality, actually, it's just a machine, just an LLM that structures words, come up with the probabilities, what is the next sentence. So actually, the information is very shallow. There is no depth. It doesn't hold most of the time. A lot of references are wrong. He makes up things. So these things are very important. So also, in bias, there is a lot of public data is inclusive. The DMR used is generated in Brazil. Brazilians' human anatomy, the structure, the build for the females, is totally different from Asians. Whatever results we have there doesn't apply to Asian women. Zero. It doesn't work. We have to collect new data for Asian women to validate the model. And this is one of the things that we have learned. It took us time to learn, and took us a lot of effort and a lot of money as well. So basically, bias is very, very major issue with existing public AIs. Three things, I think, in 2026, 27 are very important. In the education of medicine, education of health sciences, health education, and biomedical engineering, which does work on, which looks at the electronics and the devices that is used in health business. So 68% of health professionals are resisting AI. They don't trust AI, so they don't use it. And even those who use it, we found out, they are scared to tell their colleagues that they're using this tool for validation. Okay? Also, we found out that making a decision with an AI on its own, especially for diagnosis, is too risky because the failure rate is very high, and sometimes it affects a human life. So we have to design from scratch your model for human-machine collaboration. Okay? Also, you have to demand for rigorous evidence, peer-reviewed. Anything you bring, suspected. Okay. Trust, but you have to verify. I trust whatever you submitted, but you have to verify to me all the sources of everything you wrote. Okay? So once we build this culture into students, into researchers, into these two disciplines, I think a lot of things will change. This is what I have for today. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. And also, I'm sorry I took you off the stream or the track this morning. It was too hot. It was very eagle-eye view of the issue of AI in health. I brought you down to something very specific, and it touches your life on a daily basis. It touches almost 50% of the society. Yes.
Detecting is very important in this area, and I need to know, is it possible to use this detecting in civil engineering, for example, to see how much steel stays in a column or beam, and to understand how is it possible to, in short time, this building is enough strong to earthquake resistance or not. In Turkey, this is sometimes mainly a big issue. And I think it could be helpful. My wife is dentist, and I will send this information
Yes.
to her. It is very surprising for me to see it in teeth, this detecting possible by AI. And why not, I think, in buildings, a civil engineer to detecting how much steel and what is the conditions that building to understand in short time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay. I am not from civil engineering, but I do work with colleagues from mechanical engineering, our faculty, and they have a grant from IAEA, the Atomic Energy, on NDT, non-destructive testing for civil buildings. So they use multimodal. They use IoT sensor data for the structures. They use acoustic waves. They use imaging, acoustic imaging. They use thermography as well. So they have many models, and they're studying this data and combining it, trying to come up in collaboration with a government department called JKR, which is the Department for Road, Bridges and Transportation. It's the organization responsible for approving, giving the certificate of fitness for bridges, roads, constructions, and all this. It's also an issue in Kuala Lumpur. You can find some high-rise buildings, 50-story buildings, ghosted. Nobody lives there because they did not get the certificate of fitness to occupy the building, so they cannot sell the condominiums. So because there is a structural issue in the building. So with this multimodal, what they have seen them they do actually now, they're collecting data from many modalities with engineers from civil engineering. They're studying them, they're using signal processing with Fourier transform and looking at the acoustic waves, some features from sound, and based on this they create a lot of features, they correlate them and try to find out if they can detect drags, and also not only cracks or compliance, they can even estimate that time, how long can this building hold. So there is a lot of research in this area with non-destructive testing for civil buildings. And it's also the DBKL or Dewan Bandaraya or the City Hall of Kuala Lumpur is also very interested in the research. So they are sponsoring some work for them on something like this. Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
For a very illuminating presentation. We noted this. Very nice. I have a set of two things.
Yes.
Other in the form of graduation. First, the question is, you said root canal could be a cause of this ailment. What about implants? Generally, doctors suggest implants as an alternative for root canal or maybe a permanent solution. Number two, my suggestion is you have brought out very good policy issues for the young researchers and contemporary researchers. If you can imbibe them into policy formulations and communications, I think that would be great service for the cause. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So going to your first question, I think about the issue of the implants. Dentistry is a branch of medicine, and there is always risk in any procedure. There is a risk to it. So if you go to a clinic that doesn't maintain strict, stringent protocols or SOPs, standard operating procedures, during the process of doing the implants, you risk developing bacteria, which on the long run might destroy your jaw, and it might trickle down to your jaw, and then your jaw can break, crack, cause holes, and this is a common issue, diseases, mouth diseases. So it all has to do with SOPs. Just like AI, you require SOPs, guidelines. You need to follow procedures to protect yourself. Other than that, I am not aware of any issues with but I have to remind, you cannot take advice from me. And I'm a software engineer. I am not a dentist. I'm not a medical professional. I always call myself in any meeting, I am 010 course attendant. I always learn. I always work with dentists who are entry level and graduating level, seniors. You know, I tell you another issue with dentists. There is another issue which is called the rater, inter-rater, intra-rater, sometimes when they classify an issue, this is a decision on any decision. This guy doesn't agree with this guy. Okay? So you have to resolve this issue. And then you have another rater who oversights this. And then you have another rater who oversights this. So it's not a straightforward issue. So they have procedures for that. And this is one of the issues that made the team grows up. Most of the universities, they utilize the final year students to do this rating, or find out the landmarks on the images and all this. But you need another guy to verify. And when the load, the productivity becomes very high, in medicine they have to do clinical studies, plus research, plus teaching, plus consultancy, and if they are in a place like Tüba, then they have to work with the government. So they have to work on many levels. So the commitment to each one becomes less. You see? So the inter-rating issue becomes a very serious concern. I think my time is over. Yes? Okay. Thank you very much. If you have further questions, yes,
Thank you very much for the presentation, very interesting and very important. I would like to ask you how you treat confidentiality and data privacy issues, because I think that you have to save the data in order to train the neural networks.
Yes.
So.
Yes, okay, all right, okay. So this is actually the issue with the breast cancer. This is the issue, privacy. The issue is actually privacy. People nations doesn't like to invade their privacy. So the setting has to be you can do it even with the solution we develop, you can do it at home, on your own. We show you the procedure. We develop a video for you to take the procedure and run the app. The calculation can be done locally on the app if you don't have internet, or you can send it to our lab. The server will give you the results. And it will flag you. Please visit the clinic for further confirmation. You're okay. You understand? There is always this doubt. Pimple, plastics used in dress, so they rub against the weather, especially in the summer. These are issues. I have a wife. I have daughters. I have sisters, I have colleagues, female colleagues, all one. By the way, in IOM, 67% of our students are females. Okay? 70% of my colleagues are females in my department, engineering. And this is something very different, 15, 20 years back. So STEM is invaded by females in Asia. It is not like in Europe. All our females are studying STEM courses. Okay? So this is the issues that you need to look at. It will only, with the comfort in your home, if you download the app, you can just do it. And then if you see there's something, you take a double opinion, you have to go to then you can go to MRI, you can go to mammograms, you can do CT scan, the doctor will decide what to do. Okay, so this is a helping aid, a diagnostic helping aid. It is not a decision maker. This is how we promote our AI. Never make decision. Only the professional will make decision. So we will help him, we will flag this. If you go to high school, there is a percentage that some females might have this. Understand? But when we detect it very early, you can save her life. So with this app, you can flag this issue. By the way, you know how thermography came to be used in breast cancer? There was a football stadium, and oversized lady was passing by a thermal camera. The guy in the security was watching the thermal camera for guns and all this. He noticed the hot spot in her breast. That's how people she knew she had breast cancer. She didn't know this. Yeah, that's how it started. That's the interesting thing. It's by chance.
Yes, I am finishing second question after. Thank you. When will it be possible all type of cells to see and maybe in handy in form to see as an application in a short time and not paying too much money or waiting too long? Will it be in short time possible for?
Difficult to tell the time because there is an approval procedure for anything that has to do with health. Even for us as engineers, in biomedical engineering, you support camera, sensor, anything. We have to have approval from entities like FCC. So, and they're similar. So in Malaysia and Turkey, there is an entity who's looking after drugs and food and all this. And they give license to use. So you need to convince them. Even though technologies like thermography is very invasive, it just looks at the heat radiated by your body. It just absorbs the image, creates a map, a heat map, radiated by your own body. So it does not expose you to anything. Still, we need to require a very lengthy process for ethical approval. So I think definitely it will be used. Definitely the app will be public. Definitely the app. Our intention was to go to Islamic Development Bank to make it public. So anyone in rural Africa, in Asia, can use it. That was our intention. Hopefully, I think my time's up. If you have any further questions, I'll be glad to chat over coffee or tea after the class. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Habibi, for your inspiring keynote lecture and valuable contribution to our symposium. We now move to session 2, titled AI Integration in Universities, Opportunities and Challenges. The session will be moderated by Associate Professor Kevser Çınar from Necmettin Erbakan University. We kindly invite her to the stage. The session will address AI integration in engineering education, scientific discovery in data-intensive biological systems, science communication, language technologies, academic digital infrastructures.
Good afternoon, dear President and respected representatives of the Academy of Sciences and distinguished scholars and dear colleagues. Before we begin, I also would like to thank the Turkish Academy of Science and ASPA and InterAcademy Partnership, the organizing committee, for organizing this conference and bringing all these distinguished scholars from different parts of the world here. And now we will start our second session. The title is Artificial Intelligence in Higher Education, Opportunities and Challenges. It is a great honor for me to moderate this highly international and interdisciplinary session. Also, I would like to extend my respect and gratitude to the Dr. Finoria Lego for this symposium is dedicated to, because she is also highly and deeply communicated to science literacy, open access, and combating misinformation through collaboration and cooperation. And the themes of this symposium also highly represent the values she dedicated her life for advancing. And I hope and we believe her commitment, her vision, and her contributions to the international scientific community through collaboration continue to inspire us today. So I would like to invite our first presenter and speaker, Associate Professor Hande Alemdar from Middle East Technical University, where she serves as faculty member and Vice Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, and she will present from Policy to Practice, Integrating AI into Engineering Education at Middle East Technical University. So, okay, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for this nice introduction, and thank you for the organization of this event, and thank you for inviting me here. It's a great pleasure to be here today. So, yes, I am Hande Alemdar. I am a computer engineer and a faculty member at Computer Engineering Department. I am an AI researcher. But I have two hats. I am also the Vice Dean of the Engineering Faculty, which is one of the biggest engineering faculties in Turkey, and I assume also in the world. We have 14 different engineering departments, and we have more than 1,000 engineering students, so we have a lot to teach them. So, as we all know, there is this paradigm shift now. For centuries, the education didn't change much, and the education we knew was that version of it. A teacher, a professor enters the class, he or she has the knowledge, and all the students just looks at the stage and learn from it. But as we all know, that is no longer true. So we now have AI, and this changed it completely, and that change happened so fast. So we got caught off guard. So we couldn't react the way it progresses, actually. And now today the question is no longer that whether students will use AI. They will use AI. We know that for sure. So in Nature, we decided to move beyond the reactive policies, and we decided to take action rather than to wait and see what happens. And we talked a lot about the opportunities AI presents. We all know it, we all experience it, but I would like to mention a little bit of the risks that we also know and we also discuss a lot today. But from the point of education, there is this huge risk of cognitive offloading and shallow learning. Of course, as a professional, we can use AI to ease up our daily jobs, but from the point of a student which needs to learn and digest the information, this cognitive offloading is a huge risk. Also, from the professor side of things, the professors might seem to be useless because AI knows everything and AI does these things very easily. This is an illusion too. We still need professors. We cannot risk the professor agency. And also, the professor discussed a little bit, there are academic integrity challenges, and there is this risk of over-reliance to AI, which is not very accurate yet. And also, we all know that there is bias, the political bias, the gender bias, there are all sorts of bias, hallucinations, misinformation, disinformation, there are lots of risks, and the privacy concerns, and overall there is a misalignment between the AI capabilities and risks and the goals in education. Oh, sorry. So I am not an education expert, but there are lots of education experts. Mutlu Çukurova is a great professor from UCL, and he works on AI and teacher coexistence in educational contexts. And according to his classification, this can be done in 5 different levels, from purely transactional to the synergistic way. So in the transactional phenomena, which lies at the very bottom of the synergy, you just tell something AI and AI delivers something and then you use it. And at the very top level, AI and humans are feeding each other with these feedback loops, and they are empowering each other by learning, co-create things. We are not there yet, I think, as humanity, but I assume soon enough we will be there. At Metu, we aim to start right on the middle. And our platform that we designed for our students, I assume at the operational level, where the teacher uses it, but the control is in the professor, okay? So the teacher assigns goals to AI, AI operates according to the teacher's instructions, and nothing is not uncontrolled. So we want to stay relevant and up to date. in the age of rapidly evolving AI, but the reliability is the most important keyword here. We want to empower our professors as well as our students to have those AI capabilities together. We also want to ensure the governance, privacy, academic integrity. Therefore, we cannot just let everyone use the tool they like, but we want to govern and supply the tools that we want to have. So we are building our university-owned educational intelligence infrastructure. And luckily we have lots of good students, and a couple of them started a company that does this thing for us. We are working together with them, and we built this AI-powered learning infrastructure called Prism that can ingest lots of raw materials like PDFs, the slides, the videos, but they're all the professor controlled, so it doesn't just collect data from other sources, and it builds these structured learning paths. So for instructors, it saves a lot of time. Also, they can create high-quality videos and high-quality teaching materials, but they are still the responsible and empowered party in this system. For learners, so our students, we have a very lively and nice-looking self-paced learning environment that are there not to replace the professors, but to help them to learn better. And for the institution, from the institutional side, we can ensure the guardrails, the privacy, and we can oversee the system to see what's going on. Really, we have the control. So it's a little video of Prism in action. Oh, you cannot hear it. So there are lots of sources. So you can build your knowledge base from all of the sources you select. When you index them, you can select videos, flashcards, notes. You can also have apps, assessments, mind maps, and videos. So you can ask questions. It gives the links to the sources where that information is found. You can create flashcards. The teachers can create them as well. They can follow what the students are doing and looking at and where are they working on. Also, these are auto-generated videos. During the generation of videos, also the teacher controls everything, the pace, the visuals, the slides, the information, everything is controlled by the professor. So it's not like, you write a prompt and AI generates it. The professor really teaches and designs those things in an easy way. So you can also constitute the tracks of learning. And you can also make the assessments on the student learning and so that was our platform, and this semester we tried it with the entry-level Python programming course for engineers. We have like 1,000 engineers, first-grade engineers coming from these 14 departments who takes this lesson. So since AI can code very well, so the Python is a good topic to start teaching with AI. And we didn't just remove everything and put AI in front of students. We let them choose. because we still believe in that there is this human touch. Not everything can be replaced by AI. So some of the students who prefer to go to the classroom and interact with the students, we still have the lectures as we know them, but also we present the opportunity to follow the lectures using the AI-based tools at their own pace, at their own preferred times. And currently we are towards the end of the semester. We are still collecting the feedback from the students. As far as here, everything is great, but we will see what will be the outcome at the end of the semester. Maybe in the next organization I can share the results. And our next goal is to specialize this course to the students' field. For example, for a mining engineer, the topics, the examples, the flashcards can come from the mining field. It will make them to work more and enjoy more on these subjects. So that's our next goal, to do this personalization. And second goal, challenge we address is the curriculum intelligence. Since AI is changing everything we do, how we teach, and it's also changing what we teach. And staying in the up-to-date curriculum is very high. We have also another group of students who made a startup for the curriculum intelligence. The curriculum management can be very long and it takes years, but with the AI help, we can just collect the sources and we can compare and contrast different curriculums. So we can easily select a university that we like and we look up to, and we can compare the curriculums, what we are missing, what are our strengths, and it can be done in like days nowadays rather than years. So in the nutshell, we can explore the curriculum using the maps, so we can see what are we teaching, what are we not teaching that the other people are doing. We can diagnose, we can perform benchmarks, also we can use this to collaborate. So we want to make up new joint programs, international programs. The curriculum mapping is a very, very tedious task to open up a joint task. So with this tool we can do it just in days. So it brings up new opportunities as well. So that's all I want to say, and thank you.
Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Hande Alemdar, for your great and inspiring presentation. Now we can move to our second presenter, and we can have the questions after all the presenters. Our second speaker is Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Pataira Ria from Science Communication, National Institute of Advanced Studies from India, and he will talk about AI-led science communication strategies vis-a-vis science policies in India, analyzing and assessing various initiatives. The stage is yours, Professor Manoj. Yeah.
Thank you. Good afternoon. At the outset, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitudes and thanks to the Turkish Academy of Sciences for extending the invitation, and Professor Nouri, President Aassa, who has been instrumental in helping overcoming last-minute hassles for my travel. I would also like to take this opportunity to offer my heartfelt warm tributes to our former colleague, Dr. Finaria Lugo, who was one of the founding members of Aassa Sheer Communication Special Committee. The discussions first began at Indian National Science Academy in 2014, subsequently took formal shape in 2015 in a conference organized by Indonesian Academy of Sciences in Jakarta, Indonesia, coordinated by Dr. Finaria Lugo, And since then, we have been working together in various member countries. I also had opportunities to organize a couple of programs in India, where Dr. Finaria Logo and all the members, they have contributed a lot. So just to remember Dr. Finaria Logo, just a couple of months back, we met in New Delhi conference, and very sorry to miss her. Now I will take you through my presentation to the topic, AI-led science communication strategies vis-a-vis science policies in India, analyzing and assessing various initiatives. I have been working in the intersection of science and its communication to the masses, to policymakers and other different stakeholders over the period of something like 3 decades or so. At present, I am serving at the National Institute of Advanced Studies, that is interdisciplinary institution, promoting research in various aspects, including science communication. I would start my presentation with this quote by Dr. Samuel Johnson, who coined it in 1762, that says, knowledge is of two kinds. We know a subject ourselves, or we know from where we can find information about it. I think the second half of this statement is very, very important from the point of science communication, because the science communicator cannot be the expert of all the subjects, but he or she knows from where the right kind of information can be obtained. So the second half is very important, and especially we are harnessing this idea for science communication and policy formulations. Science communication for the developed countries, mainly for the Western countries, may be different, where tap water is potable drinking water. But for the countries like India, we have a different kind of science communication, where millions of children and people are dying every year for petty diseases like jaundice, diarrhea, and so forth, so on. For us, science communication is the key to the real treasure for scientific knowledge, only by which the benefits of science and scientific temper, I would explain further. It was introduced in the Indian Constitution from the very beginning, could be carried to the common man, and thus the common man is benefited with the new advancements in various fields of science and technology, and is able to fight against hunger, diseases, drought, and social evils like superstitions with courage and self-confidence. It also enables policymakers for better decision-making with informed choices. We are now, somebody was talking the population, we are now at the top after China in the population, 1.4 billion people. We have 22 regional languages, so we have to cater all the languages, including Hindi, English, and Urdu. We have 100 plus dialects, communicating across different regions, diversity, 28 states, 800 districts, cultural diversity we enjoy, food habits, Indian food is, everybody talks when we meet with any foreign colleagues, they talk about Indian foods. So it's great to be there. Mass media, television caters something like 97% of population. Radio reaches to 100% population. Print media, 7%. Digital media, that is thanks to Gen Z, reaching to something like 32.2%. This is the infrastructure. These are the key milestones that we have: the National Council for Science and Technology Communication, National Institute of Science Communication and Information Resources and Policy Resources, National Institute of Advanced Studies, Indian Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Science, ISRO, DRDO, NCSM. They have been working sometime independently, sometime collectively for promoting various aspects of science and technology to the nooks and corners of the country and making collaborations. India from the very beginning introduced in its constitution that it shall be the duty of every citizen to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. Scientific temper is nothing but a kind of way of thinking, way of working, way of taking decisions. Whether we are able to take decisions without any bias, without any prejudice, without any fear, without any greed, or without any kind of provocation, it means we are having a scientific temper. So scientific temper is not only knowing science, it is the way how do we conduct in the society, how do we take decisions, how rational we are, how analytical we are, how systematic we are. So this is the duty of every citizen. It is not a compulsion, it's a duty as part of the Indian Constitution. So this was the first guiding principle and the first policy framework for us. It began from 1958 when the Science Policy Resolution was introduced in the Indian Parliament. It emphasized on various aspects of science communication, the inculcation of scientific temper, that given the prime importance, capacity building in higher education and research, public outreach limited to dissemination of scientific achievements, harnessing radio, print, and educational institutions for public communication. So that was, from the very beginning, it was taken care. Then came the technology policy statement in 1983. Emphasis from fundamental research shifted to technological advancement, a technological development that also gave birth to various science communication dimensions. I have taken only extracted only science communication that has been the area of interest, and that also links with communication to sheer communication. Greater recognition of technology diffusion among rural and industrial communities, beginning of science popularization movements and mass outreach programs, emergence of science communication institutions, science exhibitions, and people's science movements like All India People's Science Movement, that is very old, and it reaches to the various districts from at the village level as well. Then full-fledged science and technology policy came in 2003. It emphasizes on public understanding of science, also gained policy attention. And just to mention, I have been instrumental from this 2023 up till now in policy formulations, and we have been able to push the science communication element and now sheer communication as well in our policy formulations. Expansion of science media, science centers, digital resources, and vernacular communication. As I said, 22 regional languages we have to take care when it comes to communication to the masses. Recognition of science popularization as a development necessity. Then came the science technology innovation was introduced in 2013 in a new policy document. It emphasized on a stronger focus in public engagement, promotion of scientific temper, including technological temper, use of digital media, participatory communication, citizen-centric science. Now we are following this Science Technology Innovation Policy 2020. It is focusing on open science, one nation, one subscription approach for the international journals, science communication linked with societal trust, transparency, and public engagement, communication ecosystem that is people-centric. In 2020, the country introduced the National Education Policy, bringing a lot of reforms, and we were discussing during lunchtime and tea time that 50% focus is on the core subject, and rest of the 50% on communication, outreach, and interdisciplinary areas, and field work, connecting with farmers, connecting with industry. So these are the reforms which have been taken place as part of 2020 National Education Policy. It also emphasizes on scientific temper. Then came the India AI mission in 2024. It also hugely emphasizes on inclusive knowledge dissemination to all cross-sections of the society, AI translation of scientific content into regional languages, personalized educational communication, improved accessibility of differently abled populations, combating misinformation. AI tools detect fake science news, so we have to take care of that. Under Aassa Share, we had a conference in New Delhi on fake news. and its repercussions, how to overcome that, combating misinformation, countering health misinformation, improved credibility and verification mechanisms. These are various initiatives which are AI-led on science communication. This language translation, Bhashini, it is very significant kind of proposition. It translates hardcore science in the form of popular content in all 22 Indian languages. This is a very huge kind of project. Saral is a kind of platform that converts the hardcore research paper. Anybody can do that. You put your PDF over there. You can bring out a reel for social media. You can bring out a WhatsApp kind of proposition. You can have a video to upload on YouTube. So these are the popular forms of any kind of hardcore science that have wider reach to the people, to the masses. Societal AI for researchers, they can find out the areas of social relevance. Vigyan Prasar is a national body. They have utilized AI for science communication, integrated AI for science communication. Eravat is research analytics for knowledge assimilation platform, and Bharat Gen. This is multi-modal large language model initiative to develop foundational models to enhance citizen engagement with scientific and public service through native speech and text. The challenge is really how to convert the research paper to the newspaper. So that I think we are taking care through the AI, although all the precautions are to be taken so that it doesn't become a piece for misinformation. These are the initiatives on shared communication, science, health, agriculture, risk and environment. Like AI and agriculture, Kisan E-Mitra for farmers, taking down to the farmers the scientific information and agriculture. This helps in a big way. And we are also emphasizing, generally it is believed that science has to percolate from lab to land. We are doing the other way around, from land to lab, because the farmers also have some idea to share. They are also doing their grassroots innovations. These innovations have to reach to the laboratories so that they can be further fine-tuned. So this is the way it offers two-way kind of communication. Then AI, soil and crop analytics, this hands-on information they are able to get. AI-driven digital public infrastructure, DPI. AI fundus, AI screening tools for various diseases, like especially on tuberculosis at village level, it is helping. Teacher empowerment, teacher is a major player in higher education, so we are also empowering them. Suman Sakhi is especially meant for women health workers. So these are the areas where AI is contributing with caution. These are the policy framework analysis. STIB I already discussed, Science, Technology, Innovation Policy, National Education Policy, NCSTC and Vigyan Prasar at national level, and India AI Mission. These are various stakeholders communicating to policymakers. This is equally important for the scientists, for the communicators as well. India hosted India AI Impact Summit in 2026 in February, was organized in New Delhi. AI Impact Summit 2026 was fourth in the series of global AI summits, following the Blackley Park AI Safety Summit, UK 2023, AI Seoul Korea Innovation Summit 2024, AI Action Summit Paris 2025, the series to continue with AI Summit in 2027 in Switzerland. So this is a collective global collaboration on science, on AI for various stakeholders, various users at international level. These are the challenges for various uses of AI for science communication. The way forward, uses of emerging technology in science communication, AI, virtual reality, augmented virtual reality, immersive and metaverse, all have to be used for science communication. And at global level, we can have Global AI Science Communication Coalition at UNESCO to Aassa on shared communication. So these are some of the suggestions. I will just go to the last place. We also started a course on shared communication, and these are the hits. Turkey is also there. In various countries, we are getting the interest, and we have registered some of the students for that. Here are the conclusion. We are promoting a two-way communication model. Scientific research is not complete until it reaches to the stakeholders. And just to conclude, I will show you just, this is some of the data. I will skip that. I will show you this slide. This is, we have devised the Science-Toon. It is a combination of science plus cartoon. Suppose we want to communicate about the parasitology to the common man. So you can see at your right, a caricature, a scientist is working in the laboratory. Some small microorganisms are in the dish. And once these organisms are talking to each other, they say, see these scientists, they exploit us for publishing papers, getting PhDs, attending seminars, visiting abroad, still they call us parasites. So this is the way we are trying to popularize science. These two elderly women are talking to each other about pollution, and one elderly lady is furious on other. She says, you cheated me, my daughter will never marry your son. It's okay that he doesn't drink, smoke, or doesn't take any drugs. But why did you hide this fact that he lives in Delhi? Delhi is one of the most polluted cities, especially in the winters. And this is the last slide. Buddha said, 500 BC, do not believe on whatever you are told or you yourself have imagined it, unless you testify it. That is experimentation, scientific experimentation. Do not believe whatever your teacher says just because you respect him, but believe only after your own examination and analysis. That would be your guiding factor that will never let you down. Buddha further says, even do not believe on whatever I say unless you have tested it with due experimentation, as a goldsmith does for testing of gold by putting it into fire. And that is the essence of modern scientific temper. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Patayuriya, for your great presentation. And now we will move to our last speaker. I hope he is here, Dr. Tuncay Habib Bayli from Azerbaijan National Academy of Sciences. So he will talk about development of academically based digital resources from improving the application of artificial intelligence technologies for the Azerbaijani language. So the stage is yours.
Sorry. Thank you very much. Distinguished President of Tüba, Professor Muzafer Zekâ, distinguished scientists, and honored guests. It's a great honor and privilege to be here. We would like to extend our gratitude to the organizing committee for hosting such a valuable symposium. Over the last 100 years, science and technology have accelerated one another in a recursive feedback loop. Scientific advances enabled new technologies, and in turn, new technologies expanded scale, precision, and new horizons for new discoveries. Now, AI compressing that loop from years to months or days. Digital transformation and AI touching every aspect of our lives, it's now among our top priorities to represent our culture and language in the digital world. In this context, our talk is about development of digital resources to support more accurate processing of Azerbaijani in the age of AI, and our project, Sufi. A little bit, here's the overview. We will walk through scientific and technical aspects of the project, including the linguistic features and the software platform. And here's our overview of Sufi as a digital language infrastructure. Sufi stands for Processing Words with Universal Functionality, and it transforms features of Azerbaijani language, such as roots, suffixes, rules, and workflow into machine-processable infrastructure. This will serve as a foundation for potential applications like lemmatization, grammar tools, future NLP and white-based tools, as well as digital humanities and future LLMs. We argue that the accuracy of AI for Azerbaijani language begins with a verified, structured and rule-based language database. When AI processes Azerbaijani as a raw text, relations between words, suffixes, stress, pronunciation, and other linguistic features may not be fully visible. And Sufi organizes these relations into systematic form. As a result, an answer is formed based on rules, explanations, and linguistic structure. About the main problem, Azerbaijani is an agglutinated language, and function of word often changes with suffixes attached to the root. As many LLMs and AI systems are trained on vast, heterogeneous data from the web, they don't take into consideration the properties of the language. Gold standard base for Azerbaijani language hasn't been created yet. As a result, these systems sometimes make mistakes on identifying suffixes and semantics of the language, and quite often not able to grant their responses to verified resources. Unlike other general models that learn from mixed web data, what makes our approaches special is that for Sufi, we prioritize verified dictionaries, rules, and explanation layers. And in the future, we are planning to build Sufi AI model and connect to this base when we complete the foundation, so it will be easier to trace explanations and rules that AI relies on for the responses. Here's a practical example from other common general AI models. Quite often they mix here's the prompt is about finding the root, and the same word, and they're mixing the hot word with anger word. So Sufi started as a 3D model of language, and now evolving into a digital language infrastructure that processes word forms, root, suffix chain, part of speech, pronunciation, and rules and explanations. It has 3 essential roles: as a valuable resource for daily users, and workspace and verification environment for linguistic experts, and as well as academic knowledge base for potential Sufi AI model. About the 3D model of the world, in agglutinative language such as Azerbaijani, a word is modeled in 3 layers: root, suffix, and rules. In the root layer, lemma, part of speech, and meaning are identified. In the suffix layer, morpheme, sequence, and functions are described. And in the rule layer, vowel harmony, spelling, and exceptions are processed. Together, these 3 layers turn the word into a complete digital linguistic object. Currently, our project's database contains more than 120,000 merged dictionary entries, and including formal dictionaries such as homonyms, synonyms, and morphological dictionaries. Up until now, our researchers have identified and categorized 743 suffixes. And we are also considering to incorporate digital poetry layer from classical and modern texts. If you compare with previous research from previous years, in Azerbaijan there was about approximately 500 suffixes, but our research managed to identify up to 750. Scientific novelty of our project is that each dictionary unit is transformed into a managed linguistic object, together with its part of speech, stress, pronunciation, semantic relation, and verification status. This approach combines the morphological model, lexical base, platform models, and poetic data layer. As a result, traditional linguistic knowledge is transformed into machine-processable normative infrastructure. And here's an overview. Currently, we have a beta application based on this digital language infrastructure, still in the very early phases. We build a web app platform accessible to users and linguistic researchers. Currently, users are able to search and learn about words and expressions. And while we also plan to collaborate with linguistic experts, so they will be responsible for managing data and verification of this platform. The platform also has additional roles such as text analysis and word generator, workspace environment for linguists, admin and moderation features to track any change, and also language metric results. And we will show some views, some examples from the application itself. This one is about text analysis and word generation. Text is, first it's divided into sentences and initial linguistic indicators are extracted. Also, for word generator enables creating word forms from roots, suffixes based on rules. And for another view from the workspace, this is intended for linguistic experts, and they will work on the dictionary font of the project, and they will verify. They are expected to check and verify every item. This platform will also function as you can see, all entries are standardized across 5 fields of word, part of speech, stress, and pronunciation and explanation. And another view from language metrics. This is to show the initial text processing results, such as sentence segmentation and frequency. Also, another view from structuring word forms. This is one of the main parts that demonstrates morphological value of Sufi. And here, sequence of the suffixes attached to the root, the generation rule, and structural explanations are tracked at the database level. This information is important for generation, error detection, and creation of golden standard base for future AI models. And we're also planning in the future to build digital model of arrows and syllabic mirror. In arrows, rhythm is not just built on the number of syllables, but according to the sequence of long and short syllables. This is an interesting data layer for modeling sound length, stress, rhythm, and prosody. And in the future stage, we're also considering to collaborate with specialists to voice recordings and to build experimental text-to-speech type model. But still, it's very in the early phase, but we are considering to work on it. And another important feature from Azerbaijan is tool verification. In the left to right direction, the system starts from the root, selects the appropriate suffix, and applies the rule and creates a verb form. In the right to left direction, it's about analysis of the word, and suffixes are separated from the existing verb form, the root is found, and normative explanation is provided. When these two corrections confirm each other and match, the reliability of the system increases. Otherwise, it's required for expert review is required. And by developing this gold standard model, we are slowly progressing toward Sophia model, and initially we have implemented RAG-based model. First, the question first passes through the morphological and semantic analysis, then appropriate rule, word explanation, and examples are searched in the Sufi base. Retrieved results are ranked, and the answer is connected to these resources. And here's an overview of the technical architecture, and it consists of 5 layers. First is about data layer that carries dictionaries, roots, suffixes. Processing layer later performs tokenization and normalization. Search layer creates lexical, semantic, and rule-based retrieval. A model layer provides RAG-based initial answering. And the control layer maintains administration and moderation features for linguistic review and evaluation. Currently, there are some challenges we are facing. The first problem is the data quality, and for this we are planning to collaborate with linguistic experts. Because spelling, pronunciation, and part of speech, all these linguistic features are expected to be verified by these researchers. And second problem is about technical stability. Currently we have limited server resources, and we also need additional GPU servers to perform large-scale processing, data processing. But still we are limited by our resources. Hopefully, maybe after this conference, we can have some collaborations. And the third problem is about governance and legal issues. For this, we are expected to establish source registration, audit trail, and benchmarking systems. Here's our overview of the roadmap. Currently, we are working on the gold standard base, and we have initial RAG models. And over the time, we are planning to expand the corpus and to integrate it with potential educational tools. Later, we will have, hopefully at the end, we will have national language AI infrastructure, so all these tools can be built on top of it. Expected outcomes from this project. We're expecting SUFI not as just software, but an infrastructure for national language technologies. The platform will create normative digital resource for education, a source-linked knowledge base for SUFI AI, interactive reference for education, and digital poetry layer for digital philology, up-to-date digital lexicography, and this will give us our very own sovereign national AI model. In the end, SUFI is more than a dictionary. It's an ecosystem established not to adapt AI, not to adapt Azerbaijani language to AI, but to adapt Azerbaijani artificial intelligence to the features, scientific normative base of Azerbaijani language. Thank you very much for having us. It was a great pleasure to be with you. Just one more thing to add. We are open for collaborations and partnerships, and we would be very, very happy, especially since we are very closely related with Turkish language and Turkic states. We'd be very happy to collaborate with Turkey and Turkic states to further improve, to have joint projects and to have further improve this model. We'd be very happy, and we are open for collaborations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tuncay Habibayli, for your presentation. Now we finish the presentations, and if you have any questions, we do not have much time, but we can get a few of them, if you have any. No questions?
I can ask one.
Okay.
How
Yeah.
easy to convert this thing to Turkish language, since our languages are basically the same language? How much effort do you need to turn this into a Turkish so that we can also use it?
We need to talk with the linguistic experts, because even still we have the same roots, but still there are some differences in the lexical base. That's why we need to talk with the linguistic experts. I can't answer this question exactly, because I am a bit technical person. But unfortunately, our researchers, linguistic experts, were not able to attend here. But later after this meeting, we can have some meetings to discuss it. That would be really good. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions? I think everybody is tired. So thank you again for all these great speeches. And I think now we will have a coffee break, and then we will have the last session. Thank you once more. Okay, the certificates I need to give. Sorry. Professor Manoj Kumar Patairia. Thank you. Thank you. And Dr. Tuncay Habibayli. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Teşekkürler oldu.